Look into my eyes. When you see me on a show, when you see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world.
This is the Wrestling Matters podcast where we stand up for professional wrestling.
Here we fucking go!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another installment of the Wrestling Matters podcast. My name is Anthony Walker here for the Wrestling Matters podcast, and it's episode 159, I believe. 158, 159, but we're getting close to 160. Hope you guys are well. 3 years now since I've started this, and I am not far from done. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are, at the end of the day, I am a passionate wrestling fan that brings you a podcast every week with guests on the odd occasions. Why? Because I love to talk about the one thing I love more than anything in the world. Whether anybody likes it or not, I couldn't give two flying fucks. I love professional wrestling. I don't just love WWE. I love all forms of wrestling, and I get to talk about it on this show. I created this show in 2014, and I've never looked back. Good, bad, whatever. I try and bring you the best podcast every week that I can bring you to the best of my ability. Whether anybody likes to criticize me or not, I don't care. If you don't like it, don't listen. Simple as that. I am a professional wrestling fan. Baby, I'm damn proud of it. On today's show, ladies and gentlemen, we have got Raw, Smackdown, TNA, Impact Wrestling, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Now, a little bit of news here and there as well. 5 wrestlers who we'd like to see in the future as a world champion, according to WWE.com, or a video I saw on YouTube. More on that later. Also, ICW and Ring of Honor as well. 6-man World Tag Team Champions were crowned this week on Ring of Honor, something I already knew about in advance because it was all over YouTube. Want to know who they are? Stay tuned. All will be revealed on this podcast. Also, part 1 of the Lexa Rose interview. That's right, I did an interview with Lexa Rose this past Sunday. Not this one, not yesterday's, the week before. And it was an absolute blast. Absolute pleasure to talk to. We talked WrestleMania, plus a few other things here and there as well as JBL's bullying. I will give you my opinion on that later on in the podcast as well. Also, this episode is on the Swerve Talk Network, S&M Show Podcast, Daz with Max Wrestling's, Kinny Killer with Sunday Segway. He's on Wrestling Unleashed with me and Michael this week as well. Check that out as well. S&M Show. List goes on and on. You know where it's at. Wrestling's Worst, Ruthless Aggression. You know where it's at, guys. Like I say, each and every week you will not be disappointed because we're the family that likes to shoot and tell it like it is. And if you don't like it, that's your problem. We tell it like it is. Whether you agree or disagree, that's your jurisdiction. But that's what makes us the best in the business, let me tell you. Also, check out this episode on the YouTube channel. That is the Wrestling Matters channel. I have got projects coming on that channel. I know I keep on saying this, guys, but it is what it is. I will be bringing them to that channel very, very soon. Also, check it out on SoundCloud. Download it for free, as well as look it up on Radio Big World. Look them up on SoundCloud too. Check out Mystery Island and Wrestle Island as well. More information on them, go to facebook.com/Mystery Island or Back to the Island. Facebook.com/Wrestle Island. I need a new pair of teeth. Anyway, moving swiftly on, guys. 5 wrestlers this week that I saw on the internet that have world champion all over them. That are future world champions according to WWE.com, I would imagine. The little 5 things they do on their shows. They did it with last week. They did it again this week as well, but this one caught my eye. There was 4 on there that I agreed with. 1, not so much. Okay? 50-50 with 1. Anyway, I would like to see him do it, but the thing is, would people get him? That's the thing. One of them was Baron Corbin. He might get his wish as well, but because he's going to be in the main event of Backlash from what I've been told. But yeah, there is rumours flying around that Baron Corbin will be a world champion. When? I don't know. There is rumours flying around that Mr. Baron Corbin will be a world's champion very, very soon. How soon that be? Well, that's up to WWE. At the end of the day, that's up to where WWE are thinking. We have to wait and see. But there is a lot of rumours flying around that WWE want him as their champion. Will that take place? remains to be seen. Like I say, it's a case of how and how far will they go with it, or how far are they willing to go with it as well. But like I say, all the rumours of Baron Corbin being champion, I don't have a problem with it, full stop. We'll have to wait and see if they pull the trigger, and when are they going to pull the trigger, and how it's going to be presented to us should he be a world champion. I would imagine Smackdown, if I'm being honest with you. Also on the list was Sami Zayn. Now, this is the 50-50 one. Now, he's the underdog from the indie circuit as well. We'll have to wait and see how this pans out. But, I mean, it's 50-50 with him. The 50% of it, would they get him as world champion? Yes, he's an underdog, but would he really draw as a world champion? I would probably see him more as a universal champion, for the time being at least. But he's on SmackDown now anyway, so we may get to see him as a WWE World Champion. Question is, would it work? I don't know. I'm not quite sure about that. But yeah, it would probably be on a level, should it happen, of a Daniel Bryan as well, like an underdog, like I say, because he's the underground underdog from the indie circuit as well. So we have to wait and see how that pans out. The other one, Cesaro, I don't have a problem with that, because to be honest with you, he could be many, many things, but he's in a great tag team at the moment with Sheamus, and they're in a great... They've got a great run going at the moment, despite the fact despite the fact once upon a time they were beating the hell out of each other in a best-of-7 match. But yeah, it is what it is. Do I see Cesaro as a world champion? Absolutely. He has the capabilities. I see him more as a world champion than Sami Zayn. That's nothing away of Sami Zayn, but yeah, that works. He would be a great champion. There's no question about it. The other one is Samoa Joe. Definitely. It's going to happen. Case of when, I don't know, but it will happen. Maybe it's too early yet because he's only just come on the roster, but I see that happening down the road. He's been TNA World Champion. He has been Ring of Honor World Champion. Hell, at one point, he had a 2-year run as Ring of Honor World Champion as well, so... yeah, I could see that happening. Maybe he can elevate the Universal title. I mean, there's a lot of rumours flying around there was a lot of rumours flying around and even talks about WWE planning AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar, which wouldn't make any sense, and it didn't make any sense now because Brock is on Raw still, and AJ Styles is on SmackDown. More on that later. But yeah, I would probably see that happening very, very soon. Don't be surprised if it happens in his first rookie year. I mean, it happened with AJ. Don't be surprised if Samoa Joe is a world champion by Royal Rumble-ish next year. Don't be surprised on that, guys. That's just the way he is. And he's a badass anyway. And he could definitely have the potential to elevate the Universal Championship. There's no question about that. No question about that. And I'd actually like to see that happen. Maybe a Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe match for the Universal Championship. Who knows? And the final one is, well, we all know this is going to happen. This is going to happen, or WWE would be retarded to do so. This guy's on SmackDown now. He has the potential to have great matches. He's already got Dolph Ziggler in the pipelines as his first opponent. And that's the one and only Shinsuke Nakamura. 2-time NXT champion, just like Samoa Joe. I don't need to explain anybody on that one because I think you guys will see it for yourselves, and you guys will know, and you guys will definitely agree with me. Shinsuke Nakamura will be WWE World Heavyweight Champion before long. When, I don't know, but I see that definitely happening. Maybe we'll see AJ Styles versus Nakamura for the WWE World Championship. Hey, sign me up, baby boo. Sign me up. I'm on it. But there you go, guys. That was my thoughts on the 5 wrestlers that we may see have a world championship run in the future. 5 superstars who could be future world champions. I would probably say 4 of that 5 will definitely have a world championship run. 1 is 50-50 still, and that's Sami Zayn. But like I say, the Sami Zayn thing, that could work on the level of a Daniel Bryan as well. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But that about wraps it up for part 1, guys. Stay tuned. There's a lot to come on this podcast, including Lexa Rose interview part 1. So yeah, stay tuned. We've got a lot more to come. Sit tight. If you enjoyed the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out the Wrestling Matters podcast right now on YouTube at AJW Wrestling Matters. You can also check it out on SoundCloud at Wrestling_Matters_podcast. That's /Wrestling_Matters_podcast. Also, check it out on Radio Big World as well. For more information on them, you can check them out on SoundCloud and the Swerve Talk Network as well. For more each and every week of the Wrestling Matters podcast, weekly podcast that talk about the best in professional wrestling today, whether it's WWE, Ring of Honor, TNA, ICW, Progress Wrestling, and the list goes on and on. Only the best in professional wrestling. Why? Because wrestling matters, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 2 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. And now it's time, let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. Raw and Smackdown, highs and lows. Let's do Raw first. Raw was pretty good this week, I thought. Intercontinental Champion Dean Ambrose confronted John Cena, who was the Miz and Maurice, quite frankly. And yes, the Miz and Maurice are on Raw, and so is Dean Ambrose. Which kind of gave the game away, to be honest with you. You know, Dean Ambrose being on Raw. So that was going to be, okay, Dean Ambrose is on Raw, so I'm guessing Kevin Owens is on Smackdown. Yeah, more on that later, though. Revival defeated New Day again. I'm loving the Revival. And like I said on Wrestling Unleashed, the thought of a Revival versus Gallows and Anderson and a Revival versus the Hardy Boys, it just melts my mouth. It really does. And these, like I've said, these two are a great tag team. I think they're going to take over the Raw tag team division once they're done with the Hardy Boys as champions. You never know. I mean, you might get a hell of a feud out of them, and I think you will. With them and the Hardy Boys, Revival that is. And I've always said the Revival are the modern day brain busters, in my opinion. And these two are great. 2-time NXT tag team champions. It's just going to be phenomenal. It really is. Kurt Hawkins showed up on Raw and got knocked out by the Big Show. I'd love to know how that idea came about. Oh yeah, let's put Kurt Hawkins on Raw. The guy who's lost a match, nearly every match on SmackDown. I think Daniel Bryan got the better deal out of that, to be honest with you. Let's get rid of him and just send him to Raw. You'd be best off sending him to NXT, to be honest with you, but that's another issue for another day. TJ Perkins is a heel, and he beat Austin Aries. Well, I'm guessing a little help from Neville, yeah. Finally, this could work out for TJ Perkins, because since he's won the Cruiserweight Championship, and since he lost it to Brian Kendrick, it's a case of, what have you done for me lately? And I remember he did a promo on SmackDown hyping up what was going to take place, or at least trying to hype up what was going to take place on 205, and it was diabolical. So it's improved. He did another one this past week, which I'll get to later, which was okay. But other than that, yeah, hopefully this will work out for him. Raw General Manager discusses the fate, or reveals the fate, of Seth Rollins and says that Seth Rollins is staying on Raw, and it looks like it's going to be Seth Rollins one-on-one with Samoa Joe at Payback, which should have happened at Fastlane, and like I said on Wrestling Unleashed, I got no issues with that whatsoever. Nia Jax one-on-one with Charlotte Flair. Charlotte's last match before moving to SmackDown, more on that later, but it allowed Nia to be dominant, which is fine by me as well, fine by me also, and it got a little bit of redemption for Nia Jax because she was made to look like a fool at WrestleMania, in my opinion. So it allowed her to be more dominant and allowed her to prove that she is a dominant player in this Raw Women's title picture. Sami Zayn, final match, or what turned out to be his final match on Raw, defeats The Miz, whatever. Finn Balor defeats Jinder Mahal, and apparently Finn received a concussion from that, from a stiff elbow from Jinder Mahal, and you wonder why Jinder Mahal is now on SmackDown. Raw Tag Team Champions, the Hardy Boys, Cesaro and Sheamus, defeated Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Shining Stars in what seems to be their last thing as their little gimmicks, because they showed up on SmackDown a lot different and a lot more vicious as well. Alexa Bliss and Mickie James confronted Raw Women's Champion Bayley and Sasha Banks, and then Mickie gets jumped by Nia Jax and just gets clouted by her. Literally gets clouted by her. And then Nia makes a statement at the hands that she is a player, a dominant player, and a big player in this Raw Women's title picture. And Intercontinental Champion Dean Ambrose defeats Kevin Owens on his last champion, on the champion versus champion match, and Kevin Owens' last appearance on Raw as well. But the thing I want to talk about is the tutorial. Yes, the tutorial that Braun Strowman made into how to kill Roman Reigns in one fell swoop. Boy, did he ever. He showed him a monster. I thought they should have panned this out a little bit more. Maybe do it one week and then do it the next week. I agree with Kinny as well. Listen to Wrestling Unleashed from this past week. I agree with Kinny. You should have panned this out a little bit more because it looked very vicious. And then it got out of control when he pushed him off the platform on the stretcher, and the stretcher took like a head dive down to the concrete on the stretcher. It looked like he took a pile driver as well, and then he just got out of control, and obviously he lifted the ambulance up and everything else in between. They should have panned this out a little bit more, in my opinion, and I agree with what Kenny said on Wrestling Unleashed as well, because if this is how it's going to be and Roman shows up next week on Raw, then the whole thing's been shot to shit, really. But according to NoDQ.com, yes, shout out to Aaron Rift and everybody on there, but according to NoDQ.com, and I read this out on Wrestling Unleashed as well, there was news regarding plans for Reigns, Strowman, and Brock Lesnar getting involved as well with the Universal Championship. I'll read the article out again. I read it out on Wrestling Unleashed. I'll read it here again. Regarding the Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman storyline, a match between them, it was planned, expected to be for Payback. There has been talk about Reigns taking some time off to sell the ambulance attack from Strowman, which would be a logic idea and a smart idea. It's possible that Roman Reigns versus Strowman will be held off until June 4th, Extreme Rules pay-per-view. WWE could also do a stipulation match in there as well, such as an ambulance match, which, to be honest, would make sense. And book Reigns to lose without being pinned or made to submit. Quite frankly, they should have done that with Braun Strowman. And I'll give you the other bit of news as well. According to Dave Meltzer, Strowman versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship is currently scheduled to be Lesnar's next match and will likely be in June or July. Reigns and Lesnar are expected to be kept apart until SummerSlam at the earliest. But Meltzer reports that WWE still wants to do that match for WrestleMania 34. Fuck WrestleMania 34. Let's do that at SummerSlam. But there you have it, guys. That is the end. At the end of the day, from Raw. Let's go to Smackdown. Right, Smackdown. Smackdown kicked off this week with a shook-up. More of the shook-up, the shake-up that is. And Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are now on Smackdown. Much to Kevin Owens' dismay. Just when he thought he could get away from Sami Zayn, Sami Zayn comes to Smackdown. Randy Orton and Eric Rowan ended in a no contest, but there's still more fuel to the fire. That is Bray Wyatt as well. Smackdown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, defeated American Alpha, and it looks like Shining Stars are going to be the next in line for American Alpha as well. But it was great to see the Shining Stars. It seems they have dropped the gimmick and have been more ruthless now and been taken more seriously. And with rumours flying around that Carlito may be coming back, it seems that WWE wants them to be an established tag team and to be taken more seriously, so we could see Carlito returning very soon. There has been talks, from what I've been told, from what I've got, there has been talks. It's just a case of, if it works out for Carlito, it has to work out for WWE. It has to work out for both sides, so we'll have to wait and see if that ever happens. Mojo Rawley beat Jinder Mahal, and yes, the football player got involved again. Shane McMahon came out and addressed the SmackDown Women's Division and added 2 new names to the division. Tamina Snuka is back, and that could be good for the division as well. And also, as part of the shake-up, Charlotte Flair is now part of the SmackDown Live Women's Division. Be sure to see her as SmackDown Women's Champion very, very soon, I'm sure. Aiden English is now on to his solo career since losing his tag team partner, only to get beat by Ty Dillinger. Great start. Dolph Ziggler comes out and says that he's still on SmackDown. He manages to get acquainted with Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm looking forward to seeing that match. New Day will be coming to SmackDown, much to Byron Saxton's happiness. And AJ Styles is the #1 contender for the United States Championship and will get that opportunity at the US title at Backlash, from what I've been told, because the 2 matches that have been penciled for Backlash is Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles for the US title, and Baron Corbin one-on-one with Randy Orton. So we all know how the whole WWE title at Backlash is going to pan out. And I think the WWE Championship being defended at a Raw pay-per-view is to fill in for the fact that the Universal title is not going to be defended. So we'll have to wait and see. All in all, guys, I'm very much looking forward to Shinsuke Nakamura and Dolph Ziggler, because this is going to be good for Dolph Ziggler as well, because when he turned heel, we'll just give you Mojo Rawley instead. So this could be good for him as well, because he can make Nakamura look good, and I'm sure Nakamura will make him look good. Just hope he doesn't get injured like he did to Austin Aries when he had that eye injury. Yes. But all in all, guys, that was pretty much Raw and SmackDown as well. Not really that much to talk about. The main piece of the puzzle is Charlotte Flair is on SmackDown, and AJ Styles is the #1 contender for the United States Championship, which would be interesting. And it's alright to see, not just to see AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens, but to see AJ Styles go and be the United States Champion. It would be interesting to see how that pans out. But with that being said, guys, that is the end of the Raw and SmackDown highs and lows. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. I'll be back right after this with more on the Wrestling Matters podcast. Like I said, there's Lexa Rose Part 1, maybe a top 10 from What Culture, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and ICW as well. So, see you in a bit.
Wrestling fans, look no further for the most unpredictable wrestling podcast you've ever heard on the Max Wrestling Podcast, hosted by me, Dazzy Dangerously, with everybody's favourite captains, The Phoenix, The Butcher, and Mike Larkin, plus special guests, promos, and trivia. Find out what's been going on in wrestling history as I take you down memory lane every week.
And the Butcher's Stupid Idiot of the Week. Get it!
And see if you agree with me as I choose every week's segment of the week in the world of wrestling.
The Max Wrestling Podcast is available on
YouTube, Podomatic,
Mixcloud, and Soundcloud.
And the Swerve Talk Network with other great shows.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook at Max Wrestling UK or go to our website maxwrestling.wix.com/maxwrestling.
And that's the bottom line.
because we're out of time.
Yalakalikimaka.
Listen in, man.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kinny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shuggs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome back to part 3, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do the highs and lows of Ring of Honor in this part as well. And plus, there's something else I want to talk about that I forgot to mention during the Raw Smackdown highs and lows, but I'll get to that in a sec. Ring of Honor this week kicked off with Punishment Martinez, going one-on-one with Hansen from War Machine. Now, you've got to understand these guys, this is one-on-one, but it was all build up because there's something going down between War Machine and Harry Smith, because although it was a great match and a good way to kick off Ring of Honor TV, Harry Smith got involved and distracted Hansen, which allowed Martinez to get the victory. So there's something big going down in that situation with War Machine and Harry Smith, so look out for that. All based off their 6-man match against Briscoes and Bully Ray. I believe it was at the 15th anniversary show, but it's not over between War Machine and Harry Smith. We'll get to that another time though. Also, guys, there was another highlights match from New York with the Prospect Tournament as well, which I didn't get to, but the main headline for Ring of Honor this week was the 6-man tag team titles. Now, due to one of the Kingdom's members breaking his leg during a match that involved the 6-man tag team titles, then retaining it against Dalton Castle and his boys, the Kingdom was only on 2 members and they had to get a third member, or they had to get a replacement for one night only. So the last real man, Silas Young, got involved, but it did not help the Kingdom at all to retain the belts. The deal was if they retained the belts, him, the Bruiser, and whoever else they can get would be first in line for a shot. Didn't work though, because the Kingdom are now no longer 6-man tag team champions, because the new tag team champions, and I already knew this in advance anyway because it was all over YouTube, were Bully Ray and the Briscoes. Yes, Bully Ray won his first ever 6-man tag team title, and you can tell by the look on his face when they won it, because he was like, I've never won these titles before. Well, you have now, and he's walking around Ring of Honor with a 6-man tag team title, and his partners are the Briscoes. Just more titles to add to their legacy as well. But it was a great show this week. I'm looking forward to next week as well. We'll have to wait and see. They need to improve on the matches though. I still don't get the Kevin Kelly bit though. Kevin Kelly is now the anchor man to the new lead announcer of Ring of Honor. They were all telling me that he was away doing business in Japan now. He's away in Japan. But anyway, that's another story for another day though. That was Ring of Honor highs and lows. The highs and lows being, well, the highs being new 6-man tag team champions. Now I'm going to talk about Braun Strowman again. Now, I talked about it in the Raw and Smackdown review, highs and lows. There seems to be a petition going around, ladies and gentlemen, to fire Braun Strowman for what he did to Roman Reigns. The God's honest truth. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Braun, there is a petition going around called WWE Fire Braun Strowman. It's on change.org's website. If you look it up, it is up there, or type in on Google Braun Strowman petition, and 2,972 supporters have signed the petition. Jennifer Kuchler, I hope I said that right. If I didn't, it's spelled Kuchler. If I said that wrong, I deeply apologize for butchering it. Virginia. I'm not very good with names, as you can probably tell. She's from Norfolk, Virginia. She has put a petition online to sign a petition to get Braun Strowman fired from WWE because of what he did to Roman Reigns on Raw this past Monday. Whether it was good TV, apparently she didn't like the fact that it was there. You know, it wasn't entertainment in her right. I'll read this. I'll read what it says. To the WWE, we, the WWE Universe, are not pleased with Strowman's actions on tonight's edition of Raw in his brutal attack with Roman Reigns. Me and a lot of the WWE Universe want Strowman fired effective immediately. He crossed the line tonight following the attack on Roman, and now Roman is in the hospital with injuries. If this is what you call entertainment, you failed miserably. I don't care if he goes to Smackdown Live. We want him off Raw or fired from WWE. I have been a fan of Raw for years, and out of everything that I have seen happen, this was by far the absolute worst. Jesus Christ. But anyway, guys, that's it. To be honest with you, she's in over her head. It's not going to happen. And I like to take what I do seriously. I like to take the things that I do seriously. And I like to take wrestling very seriously. I'm a very serious, passionate wrestling fan. But even I won't stoop to that level. I'm sorry. Even I won't stoop to that level. Yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. So it's there. It's on change.org's website. Just look it up, or look it up on Google, Braun Strowman petition, and just go and laugh at it, to be honest with you, because it is a laughable offence and it is a joke, quite frankly. Anyway, that was part 3 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. I'll be back in part 4 with highs and lows of TNA, ICW, and Lexa Rose part 1, so a lot more to come, guys.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kinny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shugs.
Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Hey guys, this is Mike Larkin.
And this is Stevie Nicks.
To check out the S&M Show podcast and more great audios, check us out on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/MCLarkin92. And we are now on the Swerve Talk Network, Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. UK time, along with the Max Wrestling Podcast, Offshoot Radio, Sunday Segway, and the Wrestling Matters Podcast. And also follow us on Twitter at SMShow1 and at SteveNicksSM. You won't be disappointed. Peace.
Welcome back to part 4 of the Wrestling Matters podcast, guys. This is the final part, and the next part we will play the part 1 of the interview with Lexa Rose. That is in part 5. This is part 4. Now it's time for highs and lows of TNA and ICW. Let's get on with it. Let's start with ICW. Not ICW. Let's start with TNA first. Impact Wrestling, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Now, highs and lows of Impact Wrestling. Reno Scum won a 3-way tag team match against the Rado Kid, Garza Jr., and Decay. Like I said on Wrestling Unleashed, Reno Scum have the potential to be a great tag team. It's what Impact Wrestling will do with them, is the question though. Pritchard comes out and announces Storm versus Bobby Lashley for next week and tells EC3 to go and look in the mirror. Now, there's all these rumors flying around about EC3 being a heel. What amazed me about this whole situation is when Pritchard went, go back to the locker room and look in the mirror. I was expecting EC3 to turn heel right there and then. You know, with his all, okay, Pritchard, okay, Bruce, I will go back to the locker room and turn heel, and then walk 2 steps and then boom! Smack him right in the mouth, but it didn't work. So I guess we'll find the answer to that next week. KM and Sienna unleashed fury on Sutter and Ali. Congo Khan, that is. GFW's Congo Khan. And he was a monster, and probably that was my favourite moment of the match, because this whole thing with Sutter and Ali, this wedding fiasco, and the woman he was supposed to marry, the psycho girl as I call her, came out and started beating the hell out of Ali. So there was something there as well. Where this is going to go, I don't know, and to be honest with you, I could care less, if I'm being honest, because I was done with this when Maria left the company. Go figure. Rosemary beats Santana. I almost said that wrong there. Andrew Everett is being groomed, and he will face Trevor Lee for the X Division Championship. Eddie Edwards Davey Richards beats DJZ, but realizes that Eddie Edwards is not going quietly. And apparently there's a mixed tag match down the pipelines as well, with Eddie Edwards and his wife taking on Angelina Love and Davey Richards. And what amazes me about this whole situation is it's like Lacey. It's like that vampire who's in ECW. I forgot his name. Is it Kevin Vaughn? Kevin Thorne, that's him. And Martinez, who's the girl in LAX one time. It's all this trance that Angelina Love has on him and everything like that and everything. It's kind of reminiscent of that as well. And what people fail to realize is they're actually a married couple, okay? They're actually a married couple in real life. So figure that before you think that, okay? And yes, Impact Wrestling still call this guy the Lone Wolf, and I'm talking Davey Richards. But the best part of the whole situation, of the whole Impact, is JB's team beating Team GOAT, greatest of all time, Josh Matthews' team. And because of it, Josh Matthews has to leave the announced team forever. So I might be able to watch Impact without turning it on mute. No more, because Josh Matthews is out. He only has himself to blame. Ding dong, the prick is dead. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. And he comes out, walks backstage, tries to hold the camera off, says, get that camera out of my face and everything, and just walks right out of Impact. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Anyway, that is the end of Impact, and you know what time it is now, ladies. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard the music. It is now time for ICW. But before I get to ICW, and before I talk about ICW, I feel the need to talk about something first. And that's this whole JBL saga. JBL, the bullying situation with him and Mauro Ranallo, it's out of control. And I agree to a point what Kinny said on Wrestling Unleashed. Go back and listen to it as well. A little plug for you there, ladies and gentlemen. He says, if you go on Twitter and start talking smack to somebody, no matter what celebrity it is, whatever, if you start talking smack to them, they're more than likely at some point going to block you. No matter what you say, you crack a joke with them, it doesn't matter what it is. At the end of the day, if you bring up something that is personal, they're going to crack it. They're going to block you. They're going to crack it up and just block you instant like that. Few people have been blocked. I haven't had the misfortune of being blocked by celebrities in that way, because I don't go into Twitter accounts or anything like that and start talking trash to people, unless they talk trash about me, but that's a different story. But I've never gone on Twitter, gone onto somebody's Twitter account, relayed them in any way, shape or form to the point where they block me. Unfortunately, a few people, especially what some that Kinny said as well. But I agree with what Kinny said. That can happen. But my point is, ladies and gentlemen, JBL, even if you're on his follow list, no matter where it is, how it is, and I don't have the misfortunes of following JBL, so I could probably in a way get away with this, although he probably blocked me if he heard this. But I don't care anyway, because I don't like JBL, because I think he's an asshole as well. I respect him back in the day and all that, when he was in the ring and everything, but from what I'm hearing, he's a complete asshole. At the end of the day, it goes to the point where if you're on his list, he blocks you if you say something about Mauro Ranallo. This whole bullying thing, if you wish him the best, if you're on his list, his follow list, and you wish Mauro Ranallo the best and all that from his depression thing and everything like that, he blocks you. And I'm talking about JBL, no matter who it is. And he's already done that, which is borderline ridiculous, which shows people that he obviously has something to hide. Why would you do that if you have something to hide? I mean, what you've got to understand is, guys, depression, I know, because I've suffered from it as well. I've suffered from it. Not gonna lie, it's a very serious matter, because it makes you lose confidence in yourself, and you're unable to do certain things and whatnot. And only you can get rid of it. Only you can allow it to stay in there as well. But this whole thing now with Ranallo and JBL is apparently made mainstream. What's gonna happen, I don't know. I just think it's out of control, and I wish WWE would put an end to this. And I agreed also to what Kinny was saying, because this past week on Smackdown, there were people getting thrown out of the arena for having JBL signs, fire JBL, JBL bullied me, and so on. They were getting thrown out that way. So JBL's JBL, but if I was anybody backstage, I'd take him off announce team and keep him back there out of the way, because he's going to get that full stop until this thing's sorted out. And it's not good on him, and it's damn sure not good on the company, this whole Be a Star campaign thing. I mean, people are probably looking at that now, even though it's been around for a long time, even though they probably didn't believe it at first, but people are going to look at that right now thinking, that's a bunch of bullshit. This whole Be a Star thing, it's a complete bunch of bullshit. And they're probably worried as well. Whether or not they're going to pull the plug on this whole deal they've got with WWE, considering how this is going to turn out. I hope this gets resolved very soon, but I just wanted to say that quickly. Anyway, enough of that. ICW. Let's do it. ICW kicked off this week with Austin Reese defeating his victim, and then the tag champs sending a message to Rampage Brown and Ashton Smith, who they've got at Baromania. House of Saint came out, and it was Liam Thompson and Christopher Saint going up against the tag team champions, and obviously the tag team champions were going to win, because they've got a match against Rampage and Smith at Baromania, but hook, line, and sinker. Casey Owens loses to Martina with the most weirdest thing I've ever seen. It was like a cross. I swear it was a condom she had on. They tried to do a mandible claw. Martina put it in Casey's face and then turned it into a code breaker. I called it the mandible code breaker. Go figure it out. And then Ravy Davy comes out and the party goes on in the ring, and, well, you can only imagine what happens next. Going into his scramble match at Baromania, Kenny Williams retains the Zero G Championship in a hard-fought, awesome match against Andy Wilde. Joe Hendry gets personal with Lionheart. This got out of control. If you haven't seen it, it's on the YouTube channel. I don't know why ICW have been putting their Fight Club episodes. They put about 4 Fight Club episodes on the YouTube channel. I don't know why, but I'm not complaining. Go and check it out. It's on the ICW Insane Championship Wrestling YouTube channel. It was very personal between these two, and it got really disturbing, let's just say, and very awkward, to the point where Lionheart threatened to blade Joe Hendry. Go figure that out. Joe Coffey beats BT Gunn, a very new BT Gunn, minus the NAK music. It seems that it is the end of the NAK, but it was an awesome, hard-hitting match, and if Joe wins the championship at Baromania, more on that later, he will be, as a mark of respect, he'll be more than happy to give BT another shot. But even I knew this was going to be a hard-hitting match. I don't even need to watch it. I did watch it. I loved the match. I've loved the previous matches as well. Apparently it was a best-of-3 match, which I must have missed that part. But it was great to watch either way. Charlie Sterling went one-on-one with Dave Mastiff. Nothing really much in this match, to be honest with you. Just a great wrestling match between the two, which Mastiff managed to get the victory. DCT, Viper, and Chris Renfrew went up against a 6-man tag, which was meant to be Filthy Generation, Kaylee Ray, and Stevie Boy, and Davey Blaze, which was basically the Bucky Boys in a way. It's the old version of the Bucky Boys. But Stevie Boy chickened out and brought back Dickie Davers, which didn't work because Renfrew and DCT, even though it was a fast-paced, action-packed 6-man or 6-person tag match, I guess you can say, Viper beats Kaylee Ray and gets the victory for the team. Also, Chris Renfrew challenged Stevie Boy to a last man standing match at Baromania, and a mixed tag match was made as well. DCT and Viper against Davey Blaze and Kaylee Ray. Only you guys know what happened at Baromania, because Baromania has been and gone. Like I say, look out. I will hopefully watch that this week. More on that later on. And there was another match as well. Ravy Davies apparently put his name in the hat as well for the Zero G title. That scramble match, so that should be interesting. Wolfgang and Kid Fight won a hard-fought tag team match against Jack Jester and Shah Samuels. I was about to say Samuel Shaw there for a minute, but Shah Samuels, all building up to Baromania. But the weirdest thing was they had a little bit of help. Well, Kid Fight had a little bit of help in pinning. And Lou King Sharp, of all people. Very strange, very weird, but it was what it was. Very weird. I don't know what the relationship is with them, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And yes, in a hard-fought, action-packed, hard-hitting match, so Trent Severin retained the championship against Mark Coffey, the ICW championship against Mark Coffey, and Ness, the highlight of the whole show, or one of the highlights of the whole show. So Trent Severin being announced that he has to face Joe Coffey, because Joe Coffey cashed it in at Baromania, and it's Joe Coffey and Trent Severin at Baromania for the ICW title. And they were promoting Baromania throughout the show. Check it out on the YouTube channel. And they basically gave the game away, that it was going to be Joe Coffey and Trent Severin. Can't do that, guys. You've got to be careful of that. Careful how you promote. Yes, you want to promote it. I would have saved the promotion spot with Jennifer Louise. I would have saved that to the very end of the show. Promote it at the end of the show. But I understand you wanted to get it out there as best you can so you can get people to check it out. I'll be checking that out on the ICW On Demand service. The highlight of the interesting match for me was an awesome match between Lewis Garvin and the UK champion himself, Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate, WWE UK champion. Yes, WWE UK champion in an ICW ring versus Lewis Garvin. It wasn't a title match, but Tyler Bate put up an awesome win. It should have been a title match, but I guess ICW don't have that power. And it goes to show that ICW has friends in high places, because they must have done something good to convince WWE to allow them to be in that match. Or allow Tyler Bate to wrestle there as well. We don't know. Like I said, the whole thing, it's a UK championship, so you're going to see Tyler Bate probably in and out of ICW, plus various other promotions as well, with that UK strap. Will it be the next time? I would like to see that at their Baromania, but I believe the Baromania card has already been sorted out. Either way, great show by ICW. That is about it for this part. Hope you guys enjoyed that and a little opinion on JBL. I'll be back right after this with part 1. Yes, I'm going to play part 1 in the next part of the audio with me and Lexa Rose. Check it out, guys. We talk about various other stuff. JBL Bullying as well. Don't forget that. And also, we shoot on WrestleMania as well. So, part 1 is today. Part 2 will be next week. So, stay tuned. It starts part 1 right after this. Hope you guys enjoy it. Are you sick of professional wrestling? Do you want to speak your mind about professional wrestling? Well, if you like a wrestling podcast, why not tune in to the wrestling podcast where wrestling matters? The Wrestling Matters Podcast. Each and every week, I talk about the best in professional wrestling from WWE, TNA, ICW, Progress Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and the list goes on and on. Also, on the other occasions, I bring guests in as well to shoot the breeze about the one thing that I love, that we all love, professional wrestling. So join me each and every week for the Wrestling Matters Podcast on YouTube, AJW Wrestling Matters, the Wrestling Matters YouTube channel, SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/wrestling_matters_podcast, and any other podcasts that matters. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. If you like the Wrestling Matters Podcast, why not follow the Wrestling Matters Podcast now on Twitter @WM Podcast for all professional wrestling news. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Lovely people of the wrestling world, it is me, that HEAD, back with you for a recording for the upcoming episode 159 of the Wrestling Matters Podcast. That's right. We had her on last time. She's back. We're going to talk WrestleMania, plus a few other things here and there, but mainly about WrestleMania. It's Lexa Rose. She's back. What's going on, Lexa?
Hi, I'm doing good. I just came home from a show over the weekend, actually, for Rampage Pro Wrestling in Delaware.
Yes, there was a bit of an issue whether or not you'd be back in time.
Yeah, but we made good timing, thank goodness. So.
Yeah, and this was meant to happen a while back, but due to other stuff getting in the way, time changing over in America and everything, me being ill, which was not good, and not one of the best fortnights of my life, I can tell you that for nothing. We had to change things around, but we finally get to do it.
Yay!
And, yeah, what the perfect time to do it, ladies and gentlemen, because as we've done this, last week was WrestleMania, and that's what we're going to talk about as well, because I definitely want to get your opinions. But, before we get into the nitty-gritty, what have you been doing since I last spoke to you? Man? What's up?
Just working out, focusing on school and wrestling. Actually, in the process of finally getting gear made, which should be hopefully done by June. We're hoping the latest. Been wrestling. We just stepped foot into Delaware, and the crowd loved it. They don't really see that many females, so it was, exciting for them to see some girls go at it, and it was just definitely a fun, little mini vacation for the weekend. Yeah. But yeah, just wrestling, and also I've been working on my makeup vlog. Ooh. So I don't know if we had spoken about it before, but I have a makeup blog on YouTube now called Wrestling with Beauty, where I do makeup tutorials based on, looks inspired by wrestlers, and I've got quite a few, videos up, so.
Yeah. Well, I will give you a spot later on towards the end of this where you can plug it all, as I always do with my guests. So you can plug all that later on. But like I say, guys, be sure to check that out. Yeah. Like I said, so you're back in the ring now, because last time you mentioned, if I remember correctly, you mentioned that you were managing a lot.
Yes.
As well. So now you're back in the ring, so that's good to hear. Because you prefer to be back in the ring than being a manager, right?
Yeah, I really do. Like, you get that itch when you see people that you love and care about, and supporting this business in the ring, doing their thing. And then, you kind of get that itch. And, it just, like, drove me crazy to not get in the ring and, like, actually perform. So, shout outs to everybody that's been doing their thing and giving me that itch to get back in the ring. So I'm pretty happy to be back.
Yeah, I feel you on that one, because you do something for a brief period of time and you love it so much, and then you get injured, or something happens to prevent you from doing that, and you see all the other people doing it, and you think, I wish this fucking injury would go away so I can get back in there.
Exactly.
Get back in there. I've done it. I've had it many, many times in the past and everything. Have you got any more shows coming up? Because you were at Rampage over the weekend. That's why we nearly came close to not doing this, guys, but thankfully she got back in time. But
I actually got another one coming up in not this April 15th, I believe. What is next? The 22nd of April. We're going back out to Delaware. Not too sure the name of the promotion. Actually, we were kind of referred by one of our trainers, so we're kind of just like road tripping it with him. I mean, that's kind of how we did it this time, and we made a good first impression, and we were able to network and introduce ourselves and get our foot in the door. So it's going to be fun to go back and see some familiar faces.
Hey, whatever gets your foot in the door. Whatever gets that foot in the door. Whatever gets that foot in the door, indeed. I was going to say April 15th, it's Easter weekend.
Yeah.
Because I'm working on the Monday. Yep. I'm turning into Rob Van Dam, ladies and gentlemen. I missed a Monday night. That's right. I'll be working Monday. Yay. So, so with that being said, have you, in your wrestling career, no matter where it is you've been, no matter who it is you've been around or whatever, backstage and everything, have you ever witnessed anything in terms of bullying taking place?
I have seen it, and a lot of it's directed at me, but it's usually on social media. I don't usually see it like directly, but there are, cliques within, the wrestling business. So, I mean, I'm not going to say I've never seen it, but I know it happens.
It's just the reason why I brought that up, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get right into it right now, a little smooth segue. It seems that Mauro Ranallo, SmackDown Live's commentator, has left WWE. He's done with WWE. All due to one person. Old cowboy himself, John Bradshaw Layfield.
Oh boy.
Because apparently he's been accused of bullying again. And like I said to Lexa before we started recording this, the last time he tried to bully an announcer, he ended up getting smacked in the mouth by, I believe, was one Joey Styles. But it seems this is all basically the fallout from Justin Roberts' book. Because apparently Justin Roberts has accused JBL, according to his book, of bullying him as well. So it seems that Mauro Ranallo, the, I guess now former commentator of SmackDown Live and former commentator of WWE, I guess, things might change, is now gone. And it's all because he's been having depression and stuff like that. And it's all due to JBL. got a little bit more, but what's your thought on this? I mean, what's your thought on JBL full stop, quite frankly?
Honestly, I think it's a bit unfortunate that nothing has really been done about it, especially if this isn't like the first incident that it's been happening to. Like, you know, Mauro Ranallo is a really great commentator. I think he's phenomenal. He's amazing. He's energetic, and you know, he does really good play-by-play calls. And I just think it's unfortunate that, you know, JBL feels, I guess, you know, there's got to be some reason for him to be bullying these guys. I mean, I don't know the guy personally, so I can't say anything. But usually it kind of stems from, like, professional jealousy and such. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's really unfortunate that stuff like that goes on, especially when the WWE tries to, you know, they have that Don't Be a Bully, Be a Star campaign against anti-bullying.
Yeah.
And it just, if you're going to, you know, set an example, you know, make sure that everybody sets that example and, you know, be a little bit more stringent. I mean, I understand JBL has, you know, got his tenure. He's a vet, but nobody should be exempt from being disciplined regardless of what it is. I mean,
it's definitely, it's definitely not looking good on WWE's part.
Yeah, because at this point, it's not the first time it's happened with him in particular, and it's like, are you guys doing something about it? You know?
Yeah.
It's troublesome. It really is.
Yeah, and last time he tried to do it, Joey Styles ended up punching him in it. I believe it was if I remember correctly, I believe it was an overseas tour of Afghanistan. I believe it was the I might be wrong, but I believe it was the overseas tour of Afghanistan. But yeah, it's just same old John Layfield, man. I mean, apparently now, from what I've been told, WWE have been receiving stuff, and apparently the WWE fans in particular are calling for JBL's head. Basically, they're calling for his head on a silver platter, because apparently there's petitions going out for him to get fired, and apparently also there's not only petitions going out for him to get fired, there's a hashtag going around, fire JBL. It seems now that John is getting heat for this, and deservedly so, and he's not going to be. It's going to go up his rear end, basically, and I don't know what the hell his future holds for Raw when the shake-up comes this coming week as we're doing this.
Yeah.
So he may very well, he could be out of a job, depending on how this goes, of course. I mean, it's not looking good for one Bradshaw at the moment, but it's deservedly so, because there's a lot of cases going around involving Bradshaw that he's been bullying people. And like I say, I'm surprised that WWE, Vince McMahon in particular, haven't done nothing about it ASAP, and why they keep bringing this guy back. I mean, he's been gone for a while, and then they bring him back, and then, you know, to me it makes no sense. It's a very strong subject to talk about. I know, because I've witnessed most of it and everything. But surely when you cause somebody to have a depression, like Ronaldo, the way that it's gone down and everything, you would think something needs to be done.
Yeah. And what's sad about it is it's the WWE isn't the only place that this kind of behavior is happening to. It happens in a lot of the independent, you know, circuits. Like, you know, the guys that put their years into a promotion, you know, sometimes look at the younger guys like, oh, you know, who are these young cats? And, you know, sometimes they'll bully them unless these guys, like, you know, earn their respect. And sometimes it's not even easy because, you know, there's like a specific criteria or standard that, you know, some of these vets, you know, hold themselves to. So they're not going to just like let anybody into their circle.
Yeah,
but
WWE should have a standard with this, a standard policy with this.
Yeah, because it happens everywhere. And if nothing is really done about it, it's basically downplaying and letting it be okay that this kind of bullying goes on. That, oh, just because you're a vet, you can pretty much bully anybody you want or do pretty much whatever you want, and you don't have to face any repercussions because you put your time into that company. Yeah, I mean, there's certain things that you can't just take for granted. I'm important. I've been here long. Like, that's great and all, but if you're not like showing good moral character, like, why is somebody gonna have someone like you on their team? And some promotions, they do that. They allow these guys to do that.
Yeah. What really annoys me though about this kind of stuff, this bullying stuff, I mean, this is the kind of stuff you find in a school.
Yes.
And it's taken place in a multi-million-dollar company, WWE, probably the top company in terms of professional wrestling around, and it's been letting it down, and it's taken place in there, and nothing's been done about it. And like I said, this is more like school stuff. It's like, really?
To be honest with you, I feel like, high school drama pales in comparison to like this kind of stuff, because you're grown adults. You should already have outgrown that kind of aspect about yourself. I mean, I'm not going to say I wasn't bullied in high school. Of course I was bullied in high school. I'm bullied in this business. You think that stops me? No, but not everybody has thick skin like I do. So, of course, naturally, there's other people that shouldn't have to deal with it regardless. I mean, just because I have thick skin doesn't mean somebody else does. And that really shouldn't make a difference as to who can take the most abuse. Yeah. Nobody should have to deal with it, period.
Yeah. And like I said, but when it causes somebody to have depression as well, like Ronaldo has been having, from what I've been told, that's what that in itself. I'm not saying that it hasn't gone too far when it's already started, but if somebody's getting depression out of this or caused to have depression, surely that's another thing to say, okay, this is now going too far, something needs to be done, kind of thing. But it doesn't go, it doesn't work like that, which is, I mean, stuff like this drives me crazy.
Too far though. That's my question. Like, how far is too far until you realize you made a mistake, and then you can't. The damage is irreparable.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is irreparable. I can say that for nothing.
Well, yeah, because, the WWE lost a valuable asset, because not for nothing, Morrow was great on the mic. And there was no reason for them to lose, such a valuable commentator, especially when, a lot of these guys, they're not getting any younger. I mean, they're going to have to make room for, a younger generation, fresh blood. And it's not easy to find somebody that appeals to the fans the way Morrow has.
If you enjoy the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out the Wrestling Matters podcast right now on YouTube at AJW Wrestling Matters. You can also check it out on SoundCloud at Wrestling_Matters_podcast. That's /Wrestling_Matters_podcast. Also, check it out on Radio Big World as well. For more information on them, you can check them out on SoundCloud and the Swerve Talk Network as well. For more each and every week of the Wrestling Matters podcast, weekly podcast that talk about the best in professional wrestling today, whether it's WWE, Ring of Honor, TNA, ICW, Progress Wrestling, and the list goes on and on. Only the best in professional wrestling. Why? Because wrestling matters, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast. This is an outro, guys. A little quick promotion. Part 2 of the Lexa Rose will be next week. Hope you guys enjoyed part 1. Part 2, like I say, will be next week. Also, depending on how things go, I might have, and this is a might, I might have an ICW review for you next week in terms of Baronmania. I don't know when to do it on the show, or I don't know when to do it as a separate entity. I haven't decided yet, okay? I'll probably watch the show Monday, since it'll be out on Monday on the ICW On Demand service. Yes, I am a subscriber, check it out. But I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit next week, and I'll probably talk about another Fight Club. If there's no Fight Club next week, I will, and I do a recording of the audio, I will play the audio for you on this podcast. If I do a separate recording of the audio, I'll definitely play it for you on this podcast. I haven't decided yet. I've got a hard week coming up. and I'm going to be busy all week, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see how things pan out. Also, guys, episode 159 is on the Swerve Talk Network. I say him every week, you know where it's at, guys. Sunday Segway, Offshoot Radio, Ruthless Aggression, Wrestling's Worst, S&M Show Podcast, Wrestling Unleashed, the list goes on and on. Max Wrestling also, check out their new stuff. You know where it's at, just check it out. YouTube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters. Look us up on SoundCloud as well, download the shows for free, as well as look up on Radio Big World. Shout out to Talk Brunch as well. Check them out each and every Monday, right after Raw, and when they can. For more information on that, at Talk Brunch on Twitter. Facebook.com/Back to the Island, Facebook.com/WrestleIsland for more information on what's going down there as well. My name is Anthony Walker. This has been the Wrestling Matters Podcast. Wrestling Matters, and I'll see you next week. Peace.